Is that mug clean or no?
This one's fine, sir.
Oh, okay. So these are clean, right?
Oh yeah, all of them.
All those clean, sparkling mugs. Hey, Jimmy.
Awesome, thank you.
Don't lose that yellow piece of paper. That's for the pre-show.
Okay, can I look at it?
We're live? Oh, hey. Hi, everybody. Cy Kellett here with Jimmy Aiken. Jimmy Aiken, senior apologist to Catholic Answers. I am senior. What am I, senior?
Senior host.
My senior host.
Because you're the only host right now.
That's right. So that makes me automatically senior host. Unless
Also
Jerry comes
junior
back.
host.
I mean, yeah, that's right. I'm first and, well, I guess that's weird to say. I'm first
Alpha
and the
and
last.
Omega,
No, I'm not the
that's-
alpha.
Okay, good.
I'm not under any delusions. I have a, at your place there, Jimmy, I have a little yellow piece of paper.
yeah.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and the various other places where we are located on the intranet. Here's what we do usually. We're in the middle, as you know, we're in the midst of our fundraising. That it's 3 days that we just come to you and ask you for your support. And I know lots and lots of folks. If you're already there on Facebook or YouTube right now, you probably have already supported us either financially or in prayer or whatnot. So, so you probably know all of this. But if you're new to the Facebook, YouTube universe of Catholic Answers, you may not know this part. We always eat a weird food after the. I shouldn't say weird. It might be hurtful to people. We always eat a food that's somewhat unfamiliar to us.
Yeah, a challenging food.
Right, and they tend to have they come from a country other than the United States usually.
So far, but we could
do something?
may vary that.
Okay, so this is why I have these yellow pieces of paper, Jimmy. I thought you write down the food you have in mind.
Okay.
I'll write down the food that I have in mind. I won't write down. And then
okay.
see, so we know that they're written down, they're sealed up here, and then we'll share them, and then we'll let the audience vote on them.
That sounds
How do
great.
you feel? You
That
feel
sounds
good about
great.
that?
I feel very good about that. Let
right.
me just Google real quick and make sure the one I'm thinking of is easily available.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, there's Adam. Adam, why don't you
Hey,
come over
Adam.
in the camera and just wave to everybody? I would rather not. You look great today, though, Adam. Adam's getting ready to get married. Another young person starting a family over here. Well, I'm not supposed to say that. Was that top secret? Or is that, are you not allowed to let that out on the internets?
Perfectly normal.
Okay. For some reason, I'm on Facebook, but on YouTube, I'm looking at yesterday's show. That's probably a problem of my own creation, right? Click the new video. All right, I'll work on that. Let's see. Margot says, "Nice hoodie, Cy." Oh, I forgot I was wearing a hoodie, Margot. Thank you. I'll take it off before the actual live show. Hold on, I'm listening to Carlo on Cresta. Oh, is Carlo on Cresta's show right now? Oh, we could have had that playing in here. Margot asked, "Oh, don't say you are brand new to all this. That is not true at all." Let's see, the new show. Really, I go to Catholic Answers on YouTube. I don't want
So
to.
while he's dealing with technology,
Well,
let me extend the invitation to donate to support Catholic Answers Live and Catholic Answers work in general. The way you can do that is by calling 888-291-8000. You can also go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. You'll be hearing those ways to reach us throughout the program. And as Cy said, this is something that we don't do that often. We only do it 4 times a year. We only do it for 3 days at a time. And we're not even going to be doing it the whole time. We're going to be answering questions just like normal, but we do need you to help us out. So call 888-291-8000 or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. You can even multitask, where you can be listening to us and donating at CatholicAnswersLive.com. And when you do, you help us out, you help us, and all of the work of Catholic Answers go forward, and you have our sincere thanks for it. We have a couple of challenges we're going to be announcing once the main show starts, but we'll save those for once the main show starts. So, Cy, do you have your food prepared?
I have mine written down.
Okay.
Are you about to write yours down?
I've already done it.
Okay, let's trade them. I'll read yours, you read mine.
Okay.
Okay? Because there's something. You want to go first?
Sure.
Oh,
So, Cy's food is lasagna, although he also has it spelled lasagna.
I couldn't remember how to spell it, so I
And
put it
so
on there
there's
both
question
ways.
marks.
I goes, yeah. Don't you think that I'm just going to appeal directly to the listener right now? Don't you think I have eaten enough things that offend my palate now? We should probably eat lasagna. We
We could combine our suggestions potentially.
Jimmy knew how to spell his, so it's only written on there once, and it's armadillo. Seriously?
Yeah.
Jimmy, armadillo?
Armadillo. I don't know for sure I can get it, but there is an exotic meat shop here in San Diego that I know about, and so I can see if they have armadillo and get it.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm so excited. So if you could get some ground armadillo, we
Then
could
we
make
could, right.
armadillo
Or
lasagna.
I could have them grind it because it's a butcher shop.
If we end up eating armadillo lasagna, that's
Did they have armadillos where you? I don't think they did.
no.
where you grew
I
up.
I hardly ever saw armadillos until I spent a summer in North Florida, and they have them all over the place there. I can't remember the town I was in, but
Yeah, they're kind of a southern animal, I guess. When
Yeah.
I was growing up, they were largely in Texas, but they expanded to include Arkansas.
Oh.
They're also you'll see them in New Mexico and places like that.
and they really roll up in a ball.
Well, they kind of do, but they're not like a pill bug. They don't get in to become a perfect sphere.
Is a pill bug the same thing as a potato bug? I think that
I think they're the same thing known by different names.
Yeah,
pill
like-
bugs are known by other names like roly-polies and stuff.
Yeah.
We definitely had those where I grew up. I played with them all the time.
Yeah, we had those too, but we called them potato bugs. I have no idea why we called them potato bugs. This is going to be funny to you, Jimmy. I don't know if it. Moulay Jalti on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
He says, "Who wrote the Gospel of John?"
Well, what
Isn't that
what
weird?
a coincidence. We were just talking about that earlier today.
Yeah, because we actually Moulay. I don't know if that's your real name, but because people often use handles on YouTube. But we just recorded a conversation about that for our TV show, which airs Saturdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific on the EWTN television network. So you have to watch it every week, and then you'll find out who wrote the Gospel of John. But I have to give you a little heads up. We don't have a definitive answer.
We don't have a definitive answer. It may have been John, son of Zebedee. It may have been another figure known as John the Elder, also called John the Presbyter. There have actually been a lot of suggestions because it's intriguing. The author reveals some things about himself, but doesn't ever directly state his name. And so there have been various proposals. There's like between 20 and 30 different proposals for who wrote the Gospel of John.
Well, now we didn't get to that today.
No, I
didn't know
only
that.
I only covered the two main possibilities. The two main possibilities are John the Evangelist and John the Apostle and John the Elder. But there are others too. Probably the third most plausible candidate is Lazarus,
Oh, I see. Because
we're expressly told at the
That he's
tomb that see how Jesus loved him.
yeah,
And so that's possible, but it's not as likely as the other two.
I see. All right.
But it's probably the third most strongest case. Then you get to ones that are just have no chance of being true, like Mary Magdalene or things like that.
And okay, so other than what we have in the Gospels, are there extra biblical sources on what happened with Lazarus? Do we have anybody talking about him after?
I don't know that we have significant independent information. Obviously, there were early Christian writers who talked, like they would do homilies or commentaries on John's Gospel. And so they will talk about Lazarus, but I don't know that we have independent surviving traditions about him. I could do some research, but I don't know off the top of my head.
Among the like 30 or so other options, were Christopher Marlowe or Sir Francis Bacon either of the options?
No, not in biblical scholarship's top 30.
No, they're not. But you know what I'm referring to.
Shakespeare.
Shakespeare, yeah. A lot of people think that they wrote Shakespeare. Okay, so here's the deal. We're going to eat a weird food to say thank you for all the support. I know that's a weird way to say thank you, but that's how we do it.
There are, to make yours a little weirder, there are weird forms of lasagna.
Yes, right. Okay,
I mean,
fair enough.
I had lasagna that had broccoli in it and stuff like that.
Wow. And that's, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about
And
that.
before I've made low carb lasagna using pressed ham as the noodles.
How was that? That actually
That was
sounds
actually
kinda
really, it was
I was
really
gonna say,
good.
that sounds
It was
kinda
really
good. Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. Either we are going to eat armadillo
If we can get it.
if we can get it,
If
or,
not, I'll get a reasonable substitute.
or lasagna if we can get it. But it's up to you.
Yeah.
So voting starts now, and we'll conclude in, let's give it 5 minutes. 5 minutes, we will conclude the voting.
We can include tomorrow too, because we're going to do a pre-show tomorrow as well, so we can let people vote on it then. But we could give them a sense of how things are leaning today.
Okay, that's good. That's a good point. All right. Somebody says on here that Lazarus's tomb is in Cyprus. So I don't know about those kind of things, though.
I don't know that Jesus went to Cyprus to raise him, but
Hey, Francis says hello from Dubai.
that's cool.
Now, here's the thing, though. When we say hi to someone from Dubai or any greatly distant place, then we start getting Margot saying that she's in, and she'll just make stuff up. So just watch. In a second, we'll have Margot Basso saying she's in, I don't know, southern Tasmania or something.
Oh, could be. That's pretty far south, because Tasmania is already a very southern place.
Yeah.
Down there, down under.
Tasmania should be a disease, too. Okay, so I got I got a
Don't
terrible
offend
case
the
of Tasmania.
Tasmanians.
Well,
By the way, folks, right now is a great time to call 888-291-8000. We've got the staff of Catholic Answers standing by, and since the main show hasn't started yet, the rush to get through hasn't hit yet. So now is actually a great time to call 888-291-8000.
there's no votes for lasagna yet. Could somebody just write lasagna there? I mean, you know what? Everyone who's writing about Lazarus, I'm going to count Lazarus as lasagna. I will say somebody who I really do not like just threw in rattlesnake, and now rattlesnake is getting votes.
Carlton
Who
Chamberlain
is
said
that? Nicholas
yeah.
Carlton Chamberlain.
I've had rattlesnake.
Have you?
Yeah,
Is it good?
it was okay.
Uh-huh.
Like the joke, it does kind of taste like chicken.
Okay.
But there's a reason for that things taste like chicken, because most meats are, or a lot of the exotic meats you hear about anyway, are white meats, and so they tend to have that kind of lighter
Oh,
taste.
I see.
Another one that's like that I've also had is alligator, except alligator tastes like a cross between chicken and frog. It has this,
a little bit of frog flavor.
yeah, this aquatic taste like frog. I've also had frog legs. In fact, the men in my family when I was a little boy, we'd go frog gigging and go out and catch
The three-prong thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and catch the frogs and and bring them back and fry them and have frog legs. With the
But how
rest of
much
the
meat
family.
is on one of those frog legs? Is it?
Well, they're big frogs.
Yeah.
But they're not. I mean, super ginormous. It's kind of a frog leg is about the size of a chicken wing or something like that.
I was going to have some alligator, or was it? Yeah, alligator when I was down in Louisiana last time. But I don't. I have a policy of eating very bland foods when I have a talk that night.
Oh.
And so I just said, nah, I'm not going to try.
Don't want the alligator burps
I mean,
while you're giving the
what if
talk?
I have an alligator reaction or something? Like I don't know. Okay, so let me just count them up. Right. So far we've got armadillo. That's one.
There's some
Rattlesnake
lasagnas here.
and snake, one. Armadillo. That's three for armadillo, two for snake. There's
Snake-
one
no,
Lazarus.
The options are lasagna and armadillo. We'll take other suggestions in advisement for the future.
All right,
but
so it's
they-
3-0 right now. I'm
No,
counting.
there's some lasagnas here.
Well, I haven't worked my way up there.
Okay.
So I'm counting Lazarus as lasagna, though. So no, not really. All right. So it's 3-3 now. 4 for lasagna. I've had kangaroo meat. Well, we're not eating kangaroo meat, Jordan. And somebody else says crickets. Come on, people. All right, so it's. I think we're tied up. Armadillo and lasagna.
We'll have to.
I did beg though. So.
Yeah,
Oh no! One of those are.
it's for armadillo lasagna.
Yeah.
But that kind of, I don't know. You could count that more than one way. You could count that as a vote for each.
If Patrick Madrid was here, he would say Armadillo Lasagna is the name of his garage band. Have you heard that he does that?
He has a,
Anytime
is that the shtick he does?
Yeah, shtick,
Uh-huh.
and he's got a whole webpage devoted to it.
Margot is saying escargot. I've also had that.
I think I've passed on the escargot.
One thing that now some people are suggesting, like the crickets thing. I don't know that we'll ever do insects or land-dwelling arthropods, like tarantulas. But I don't.
I'm totally approving of your policy. I'm just letting you elaborate it fully before.
Yeah. So I don't know about insects or land-dwelling arthropods. We could always do sea-dwelling arthropods.
Is a lobster one?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's like a sea tarantula.
I guess I could eat lobster if I had to, Jimmy. I bet they make lobster lasagna. I bet somebody makes because they make lobster ravioli. And that's a thing in some places. Oh, if you're just joining us, we only got a few more seconds with you before we got to do the Great Big Giant Radio Show. But we're voting on whether we're going to eat armadillo or lasagna. So vote now on Facebook or YouTube. I'm going to go back over to YouTube and take a look, see if we got any votes there.
And while we're in the break, 888-291-8000 or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. Both of those will really help us out. Once again, 888-291-8000 and CatholicAnswersLive.com.
No votes at YouTube except somebody wants us to eat banana slugs. Come on with the banana slugs. Keep voting. How much seconds do we have? All right.
11 till silent.
I got to change for the show.
Welcome to Catholic Answers Live, the program where you participate with your questions about apologetics and evangelization, including the most important theological, spiritual, moral, and social issues facing the world today. Call now with your question for today's guest. Toll free 1-888-31-TRUTH. That's 888-318-7884. Now, from San Diego, Catholic Answers Live.
Hello and welcome to Catholic Answers Live. I am Cy Kellett, your host, and we got a special Wednesday for you for a couple of reasons, but it's open forum today. Usually, almost every time, Tuesdays and Thursdays are open forum days, but today, Wednesday, we're going to open up both hours to any question you have about the Catholic faith. Questions having to do with morals, having to do with the teachings of the church, the history of the church. All these things are welcome, and you don't have to be Catholic to call. As a matter of fact, we love to get calls from non-Catholics if you got a question about what we Catholics believe or do, or how we justify what we believe and do. 888-318-7884 is the number. 888-318-7884. Our guest this hour is our senior apologist here at Catholic Answers and the author of A Daily Defense, 365 Days Plus One to Becoming a Better Apologist, Jimmy Akin. Hi, Jimmy.
Hey, Cy. You know, we have something else going on today besides just the question answering we're going to be doing.
I suspected that, Jimmy.
Yeah. It's our quarterly fund drive. So once every quarter, every 3 months, we take Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to ask you to support Catholic Answers and all of its work, and in particular Catholic Answers Live as part of that. You'll be hearing the ways you can support us multiple times throughout the show, both hours today. You can call 888-291-8000, and we have basically the whole staff of Catholic Answers manning the phones, ready to take your donation because we want to make it as easy and pleasant as possible. You can also go to CatholicAnswersLive.com, and even if you're hearing us delayed, like say you're listening to us as a podcast, you can go to CatholicAnswersLive.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can go and to that location on the web and donate no matter what country you're in. We know we have lots of international listeners, and you can help Catholic Answers Live keep going forward by going to CatholicAnswersLive.com. This hour, we have a challenge from a very generous donor who has put up $10,000 and is challenging the audience to help us make that goal this hour. So we don't have a lot of time in order to rise to the challenge. So by all means, please give us a call, 888-291-8000. Once again, the number is 888-291-8000. I can see that we have lots of lines open right now, so people are standing by and waiting to take your call.
That's 888-291-8000, and you should know that CatholicAnswersLive.com is a mobile-friendly website, so if you're out and you just got your phone there with you or something, you can use it there, and it's very quick. In a couple of minutes, it will be done. Just go to CatholicAnswersLive.com.
Or you could use your phone to call 888-291-8000 as well.
Do people still call on their phones? I thought that was ancient history, Jimmy. 888-291-8000. Catholic Answers. We celebrated our 20th anniversary recently, and it has grown into an apostolate that serves people all around the world. Among the things that we do serving people all around the world is we have a line that folks can call. People can email questions in. So many of the ways in which Catholic Answers is sharing the fullness of the Catholic faith are one-to-one. but we also publish books and pamphlets and a magazine, and we have conferences, and with a great privilege and great honor, we also have this radio program that goes out to hundreds of radio stations at no charge to the radio station. And that's basically how Catholic radio works, is that we've got to raise our own funds to produce this program. The radio stations raise funds to stay in existence as radio stations, to pay all their electric bills and all that. So you do have to support, if you really want to support Catholic radio, support your local station. And now we come to you to ask to support the programming that's made available. Anybody, anywhere in the world can take this program and put it on their radio station absolutely free, whether they are in Timbuktu or right here in San Diego.
Yeah. So if we're not on a particular station, it's not because we aren't making the program available for free. We really want to be able to do that for people, but in order for that to happen, we do need your support.
888-291-8000 is the number. A $10,000 dollar-for-dollar match means that if any donation of any size today is going to be doubled up to $10,000. We want to use up that entire $10,000. We don't want to leave anything that was available to us unused. We have a whole bunch of lines. I haven't counted them. It looks like about 14 or 15 lines. The way that works, just so you know, is when you call, you're going to talk to somebody who works right here in this building. Everybody who's working on the show is in here doing the show right now. Everybody else in the building is at their desk answering phones. That includes our president, Chris Check. That includes apologists like Tim Staples picking up the phone. So you never know who you're going to get, but you will get someone to whom this ministry means the world. And we're so grateful when you do call. Let's fill up those lines now, because we are going to take time to go to callers. We're not going to neglect our usual work today. 888-291-8000 is the number. And every dollar pledged or given today, whether it's online at CatholicAnswersLive.com or via phone at 888-291-8000, is matched dollar for dollar this hour up to $10,000. As we said before, it is open forum, so any question you have on the Catholic faith is welcome. We start with Craig in Savannah, Georgia, listening on the Catholic Answers Live app. And I'll just say this, Craig, before we go to your question, that app is another thing. I mean, we're trying to be everywhere you can be in the public space to share the good news, to share the fullness of the Catholic faith. And there you go. Thanks, Craig, for downloading the app. Your question for Jimmy.
Hey, good afternoon, Jimmy. I love the app, by the way, guys. It's awesome. With regards to the question, I got a friend of mine who's a Protestant, who we go back and forth about the Bible and the canon within the New Testament. And his argument is that the church at the Council of Nicaea did not have to close a canon because there wasn't much there. They already had what they're going to put into it, and there was no idea of other gospels, other letters out there to put together. So I was wondering how true that is, and if the Council of Nicaea really had to go through a lot of stuff to figure out which books they put into the Bible and the order.
Okay, now did I hear correctly that you're asking specifically about the New Testament?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My friend is Pentecostal.
Uh-huh.
And his big the whole difference of what's in the Old Testament is something that we go back and forth to, but I figured just focus on the New Testament.
Okay, so the Council of Nicaea didn't do anything to establish the canon of the New Testament. As far as we can tell from the historical accounts of the council that survived, they didn't issue any rulings about what goes into the New Testament. There were other councils later in the 4th century that did enumerate books of the New Testament as well as the Old Testament, but Nicaea in 325 was not one of those. Now, it's true that there were certain books of the New Testament that very early, very quickly established a canonical status for themselves in the churches. Examples of those would include the Gospel of Matthew, which was, together with John, the most popular of the 4 Gospels in the early centuries. There were apparently some doubts about John in some quarters, but Matthew was universally received right from the beginning. Also, the core of Paul's literature, the Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, and Galatians, what in German is called the Hauptbrief. That was also very easily, very early accepted as canonical. But then there are other works that there were some doubts about that eventually did make it into the canon, and they include things like 2nd Peter, 2nd and 3rd John, the book of Revelation, the book of Hebrews. These books are kind of, in a way, New Testament deuterocanonicals. They weren't included immediately as quickly as the others. And there were doubts about them in some places. And actually, those doubts continued through the age of the Council of Nicaea and onwards a little bit. In fact, the early church historian Eusebius of Caesarea, who was at the Council of Nicaea, he in his church history talks about the different books and places them in different categories based on the level of confidence that they do or don't belong in the canon. And he doesn't accept all of the New Testament deuterocanonicals. He'll say these are doubtful. Then there are books that are kind of on the other side that didn't make it into the canon, but some people thought they should. And examples of those would include First Clement by Clement of Rome, or The Shepherd of Hermas, which was a kind of early work of prophecy that was kind of early private revelation. And so there were some additional books that didn't make it in that some people thought should, and there was some flux, even in the early 4th century when Nicaea met. By the end of the 4th century, though, the modern 27-book New Testament canon had been agreed upon almost everywhere. There were still doubts, like in the East, in the Syriac-speaking community about the book of Revelation. But the great majority of Christians, if you'd said name the books of the New Testament, would have named the 27 that we consider New Testament scriptures today. And that was originally something that it developed by consensus, and then over the course of time, the church formalized that in various councils. It didn't happen at an ecumenical council, though, until the Council of Florence in the 1400s, and then Trent definitely made it infallible. But some local councils, like at Hippo and Carthage as early as the late 4th century, had endorsed the 27-book canon as well.
Okay, Craig?
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very, very much. Craig, we appreciate the call, and we'll remind folks that we have a $10,000 match this hour. We're not going to spend the whole hour fundraising, but for a few minutes each hour for today and tomorrow, we are going to come to you and present our need to you. And it is a need. We're not raising money for any luxuries or anything like that. We raise money to operate for the next 3 months. And we are trying to establish enough of a cushion so that we can embark on new efforts, whether those are in the making of new films, DVDs, that kind of thing, whether it's
new podcasts, new programming.
Right.
And Craig from Savannah, whose question we just answered, he listens by the app.
Yeah.
Well, we have a new app in development.
Yeah.
And we need people's help to support that, as well as all of the work of Catholic Answers. I can see right now we only have a couple of people on the line, so we got lots of lines open for you. The number to call, 888-291-8000. You can also go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. But we do need to hear from you, because we've got this $10,000 challenge, and as of right now, there's only about 45 minutes left in this hour, and so we need to get moving on that.
888-291-8000. The other nice thing is, at the moment, as Jimmy said, most of the lines are not utilized, and by the end of the hour, you're going to you might get a busy signal and have to wait. So we don't want you to have to wait. Just pick up that phone and call. They will get you through very quickly if you want. If you prefer not to be thanked on the air, because we're going to be thanking some people in a minute, just tell them that you don't want to hear your name on the air. But otherwise, we do love to thank people like Jerry from South Dakota, who made a $200 pledge, which for us is $400 because every pledge is matched this hour. Catherine from Kentucky, a $100 pledge is $200 for us. Bernardino from Texas, April from Ohio, each $25 pledges. Those are $50 for us. See how that works? Let me just, Anne Marie, $30 monthly in Melrose, New Mexico. That becomes $60
$60
every month for us. Maria in Texas, thank you for your $50 gift. Carlene in Oregon, thank you for your $20 gift. All of those are being matched dollar for dollar. I see lines beginning to fill up, but we're about at half now. 888-291-8000 is the number. 888-291-8000. And I would like to say this, that when you do call and you support, whether it's your local station or you just support Catholic Answers Live today or tomorrow, you really are part of something revolutionary. I mean, we as Catholics, I think we all admit that there were decades of a kind of a desert of Catholic voices on radio across the United States. We just weren't there. Protestant evangelicals, Protestant preachers did a great job of using a radio as a medium. We Catholics didn't. And we're bit by bit, we're getting there. I mean, right now, we just saw a list the other day. I think it was 360 stations carry this program every afternoon.
As Catholics in Catholic radio, we're playing catch up with evangelical radio.
Right.
Which is another reason that we need your support.
But what we find is that I suppose one of the big groups to be evangelized is Catholics themselves and to be catechized, but many Catholics have not been given answers about what their faith is when they were younger. That's what we're doing every day here. We hear from people all the time. I mean, I've got folks in front of me right now who, I'm looking at their donations that they made, like Elaine in Yuma, Arizona. Her husband became Catholic last Easter, and he got her to start listening to Catholic radio. She made a $25 a month donation. Thank you, Elaine, for that. 888-291-8000 is the number. We together are doing this. Nobody can do it alone. I suppose the one person who could do it alone has passed on now. That's probably Mother Angelica. She never did it alone. She said, put it between the gas bill and the electric bill.
Right.
Your donation. But it's kind of an awakening, really. Catholics getting into the public sphere to share the good news and the fullness of the good news. 888-291-8000 is the number.
And we have some things we'd like to send you as thank you gifts. And actually, I have copies of them right here. One of the things that we would like to send you as a thank you gift when you support Catholic Answers at, I believe it's $18 a month?
Yeah, $18 a month.
Is a copy of Scott Hahn's book, The First Society, The Sacrament of Matrimony and the Restoration of the Social Order. As you know, the theme of family is something that Scott writes very passionately about. It's something that's very much on his mind, and he is an excellent exponent of the concept of family. And if you want to find out the insights that he's included in this new book, by all means, please support Catholic Answers Live, 888-291-8000, or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. And if you're able to support us at $18 a month, we would love to send you a copy. Also, we would like to send you Peter Kreeft's new book, 40 Reasons I Am a Catholic. And Peter Kreeft is, as you know, one of the best-known living philosophers and Catholic apologists. He's been writing about the Catholic faith for years, and he covers the Catholic faith in a very easy-to-read, despite the fact he's a philosopher, he doesn't use lots of egg-headed terminology. He really breaks it down and tries to make it easy to understand and fun to read, and he's a very creative, dynamic writer. So if you'd like to find out the 40 reasons he's a Catholic, and he didn't used to be, he used to be an evangelical, then by all means, give us a call, 888-291-8000, or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. And if you're able to support us at $18 a month or more, we'll be sending you Peter Kreeft's 40 Reasons I'm a Catholic as well. It's actually, despite the fact it's 40 reasons, it's a rather thin book, so it's a quick read and something you should really enjoy. And you'll have the satisfaction of knowing that you're supporting the work of Catholic Answers and you're helping get us to that $10,000 matching challenge this hour. So please give us a call, 888-291-8000. I can see we have lines open, 888-291-8000.
We go now to Ellie in New Orleans, Louisiana, listening on Ave Maria Radio there. Ellie, you are on with Jimmy Akin. Your question, please. Ellie, are you there with us?
Yes.
You have a question for Jimmy?
At communion time, why does the priest mix water with wine?
Okay. This is a very ancient custom, and it may have actually been something that Jesus did on the night of the first Mass at the Last Supper, because in the ancient world, wine was often sold in a kind of concentrated form, and then people would dilute it with water to make it more drinkable. And so we actually see references to that happening in the Bible, in the Old Testament in particular. And since we know that was a practice that existed in the ancient world to dilute the wine to make it more drinkable, it's possible that Jesus or someone at the Last Supper may have actually done it at the Last Supper. Over time, people began to see a special meaning in this. And some of the early church fathers would say, well, even though they in their day would also just dilute wine to make it more drinkable, they would ascribe a spiritual meaning to it in the Mass and say that the wine represents Jesus and the water represents the people that he saves, so it represents humanity. And over the course of centuries, as people reflected on that, they proposed other meanings for it, such as, but they tend to reflect that theme of the mingling of divinity and humanity. And sometimes you'll hear people say it means the mingling of the divine and the human in Jesus himself. And so that's another thing that's been suggested. And something along those lines, either the mingling of God and humanity in Jesus himself, or the coming together of Jesus and the people he saves, is hinted at in the words that the priest says when he mingles them just before the consecration. There's a prayer he says quietly, which goes, "By the mystery of this water and wine, may we come to share in the divinity of Christ, who humbled himself to share in our humanity." And so even though there are different ways of looking at this, that mingling of the divine and the human, of God and man coming together in some way, is how the church understands the mingling of the water and wine, that it's a symbol of that.
Does that help you, Ellie?
Yes.
Okay, Ellie, how old are you, Ellie?
9.
9. Well, thanks for listening, and thanks for calling with a question. If you have another one, will you call us back again sometime?
Okay.
Okay, good deal.
All right, thanks, Ellie. She sounded thrilled with that idea.
Yeah, very excited.
Yeah, very. Victoria in Owensboro, Kentucky, watching on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook. Victoria, your question for Jimmy.
Hi, guys. I want to thank you for your apostolate and encourage anyone who hasn't given to give whatever you can give to this much-needed apostolate.
Thank you, Victoria.
Your work is so important. I have a comment before my question. My comment is that about the Lazarus thing. I'm the one who actually posted that. I have been to Cyprus many times, and
You're referring to something that came up in the comments thread on Facebook during our pre-show.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Actually, before the show started.
Mm-hmm.
There is a church there in Larnaca, Cyprus, dedicated to Lazarus. The tradition goes back to the 8th century. His sarcophagus is there. The tradition says that he was being persecuted by the Pharisees and the Jewish church leaders in Jerusalem
By the way,
Holy Land.
Victoria, just so you know, we're coming up on a hard break where we're going to have to go, and I want to be able to answer your question. So I understand you're saying that there is a church in Cyprus that is regarded by some as being the grave of Lazarus. Thanks for that. What's your question?
An early tradition. Yes. My question is, do the angels, I know the angels see God in heaven. Do they share in the divine nature?
It depends on what you mean by share in the divine nature. In a certain sense, every creature shares in various aspects of the divine nature because God is the source and has in himself the fullness of all perfections that are then reflected in a tiny, finite way by each of the creatures that he's made. So just like a lion is strong, well, God is strong and stronger yet. He's omnipotent. But a lion, by the strength that it does have, reflects something of the divine nature and in some sense, in that way, participates in it. Humans are able, through redemption, in Jesus Christ to come to participate in a fuller way in the divine nature, where we share what are called God's communicable attributes, things like holiness. Even though we're never going to be holy in exactly the same way that God is, God, over the course of the Christian life, makes us holier, and thus we come to have a greater share in the divine nature. And St. Peter refers to that about how we come to be partakers in the divine nature. We never acquire the full divine nature. We're never going to be infinite beings like God is, but we do come to be more godly or godlike as we grow in holiness and as other things happen to us over the course of our eternal lives, because we're told that, you know, when Jesus comes back, we'll see him as he is and we'll be like him. So we'll be even more like him at that time. So that's how it works with humans, and presumably since angels are in closer union with God than we are right now, they reflect the divine nature in various ways that we don't, and the holy angels, being in spiritual union with God, will reflect the divine nature in even more ways than the fallen angels will. So in some way, they do participate in the divine nature, but whether they're not redeemed, and so the way in which they do it is going to be different than humans, but they do share the good ones in God's holiness, as well as in the knowledge and power and things like that that God has also graced them with.
Victoria, thank you very much for that call. Thank you for your kind words. Before we're about to take a break. That means you got a few minutes to call if you don't want to miss any part of the show.
And we got lots of lines open right now. They filled up a little bit earlier, but now I can see it looks like we've just got 3 people. So we've got lots of people standing by to take your call. The number to call is 888-291-8000. This is the perfect time to call because you won't miss anything, and you'll help us make that $10,000 challenge this hour. That's our goal for this hour, and we really need your help. So call us at 888-291-8000. We only have 2 people on right now. Give us a call, 888-291-8000.
Go to CatholicAnswersLive.com if you prefer the internet version. If you want to just pick up that phone and get it done real quickly, 888-291-8000. $10,000 dollar-for-dollar match this hour. We have not come close to using it up. 888-291-8000. We'll be right back.
Will you do us a favor right now? Clear your mind of all other thoughts and reflect for just a moment on how Catholic Answers Live has made a difference in your life. Has our broadcast made your afternoon commute more meaningful? Perhaps you've learned how to explain the faith to family or friends in a more vibrant, convincing way. Something you heard here may have been just the thing you needed to look into joining or returning to the Catholic faith. All of these are serious reasons to be thankful, first and foremost to God, but also to all who have financially made it possible for us to air the show each day. Believe me, our gratitude could not be deeper. And we're coming to you today during our quarterly membership drive, asking you to join the ranks of the great people whose gifts and sacrifices have helped to turn around countless lives over the years, and very possibly helped make an eternal difference for many of them. Think about that for a moment. That's what your prayers and donations to Catholic Answers Live are doing. What a tremendous opportunity is being presented to you right now. Please don't let it pass you by. Call 888-291-8000 or visit CatholicAnswersRadio.com and let one of our fast, friendly customer service team members take your pledge. Large or small, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you call right now. Again, it's 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. We're offering some great appreciation gifts that are sure to deepen your faith life even more. But what's best is you'll have the confidence that when you turn your radio on tomorrow, or next week, or 12 days from now, we'll be here, boldly and charitably presenting the truth to a world that's searching for precisely that. Your pledge is vital to keeping Catholic Answers Live on the air. Will you make the call today to 888-291-8000 or donate securely online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com? Thank you so much in advance. Give now at CatholicAnswersRadio.com or 888-291-8000. God bless you.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. I am Cy Kellett, your host. It is open forum for 2 hours today. A little unusual for a Wednesday, but it's a happy, unusual occurrence. 888-291-8000. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to give out the number. There are two different numbers today, so let me slow down for a minute. There's the usual number, 888-318-7884. If you have a question for Jimmy Akin, who is our guest this hour, 888-318-7884. Jimmy is senior apologist here at Catholic Answers and is happy to take any question that you have on the life, the faith, the history of the Catholic Church, and even questions of a more general religious and philosophical nature are very welcome when Jimmy is here. I will also just remind you real quick that we are in the midst of our quarterly pledge drive. These pledge drives are what make it possible for Catholic Answers Live to continue broadcasting each day all around the country. These make it possible for us to keep the lights on and pay the bills. And what we hope to do, too, is to continue to keep expanding the platforms on which this program is available, because platforms keep presenting themselves with all the new technologies. We would like to be in as many places as we can all the time, sharing what we hope is just the plain truth about the Catholic Church, not our opinions, not our. I mean, you know, if someone asks for our opinion,
If it's
we'll
a
give it.
matter of opinion.
Yeah, but we're not trying to push an agenda. In other words, except that the agenda that is the Church's agenda, to share the fullness of the good news about Jesus Christ, the Church He left us, and the sacraments that the Church provides for our sanctification. We want everybody to know about that, and we think you do too. And we invite you to please help continue keeping that on the air. We have a $10,000 match this hour. The number to call for that to participate is 888-291-8000, 888-291-8000.
And we have people we want to thank, including Genevieve in Ohio, who has given $30, Louise in Ohio, who's given $100, Eileen in Virginia, who's given $25, Patrick in Maryland, who's given $50, Ann in Michigan, who's given $100, and David in El Paso, who's given $1,000. Thank you very much, David. He says he did it to catch up on his giving, and we very much appreciate it. That helps get us 10% of the way there to our $10,000 matching challenge this hour, and we really appreciate it. Thank you, David. In addition, by the way, to getting the two books that I mentioned, Peter Kreeft's 40 Reasons I Am a Catholic and Scott Hahn's The First Society, David will also be sending you a copy of the Augustine Institute's new multi-DVD video set, Presence, The Mystery of the Eucharist. We'll be sending that to you and to everyone who's able to support us with a gift of $500 or more. And because you've given $1,000, we'll also be enrolling you in our President's Club. It's a special giving society that's open to everyone who gives us $1,000 or more during the course of a year. And so we'll be contacting you with information about the President's Club, which will entitle you to various additional benefits, including everything that Catholic Answers publishes in the course of the next year. So thank you very much, David, for your generosity. And you know, Cy, if you think about it, that $1,000 a year to get into the President's Club, if you break that down, you know, say into monthly giving, you might not have $1,000 to give all at once, but if you did have the ability to, say, give $84 a month, that would put you in the President's Club. If you give $84 a month for 12 months, that's more than $1,000, and you would get all those benefits as well. And make Chris Check very happy.
And you know, in addition to that, who knows what the eternal consequences of that are, because that's what we believe at root, is that the gospel itself and the sacraments have an eternal power. And the more that we can help people overcome obstacles to their closeness with Jesus and His Church, the more we can invite people into closeness with Jesus and His Church, the more their eternal salvation is secured and their eternal reward increased. 888-291-8000 is the number. It's a kind of, we would, if we didn't, I suppose if we were of a certain mind, we would call it pay it forward, but Christ has paid it entirely. He's given this great gift of faith to us. We want to share it with everybody. And Catholics, I think, are coming alive in doing that. In all kinds of ways, you can see that Catholics around the country and around the world are taking up again that call to evangelize the whole world. And evangelize just means share the good news. And it is good news. And you can participate in that by supporting us here at Catholic Answers as we do our very best to share the truth about the Catholic Church, give answers. That's all. People are looking for answers. We just want to share them. 888-291-8000 is the number. You can go to CatholicAnswersLive.com and give there. It is mobile friendly, so you can do that on your phone if you prefer. 888-291-8000 is the number. We are going to continue to take calls all hour this hour. So if you're on the line waiting to have your question answered by Jimmy, just hang on. We will get to it. And if you tuned in because you want to hear some Catholic answers, we're not going to neglect that job. We just got to do a little fundraising for a minute here. 888-291-8000. I will tell you, I can count them. There are 7 lines full right now, and we have between 15 and 20 available.
Open, yeah.
So give a call, 888-291-8000. Will you support us? If you can pledge $20, it's $40 to us because it's matched this hour. If you can pledge $100, it's matched, it's $200. Maybe you are one of those especially blessed people, some of whom we have heard from. We just heard from David in Texas, who can make a pledge or a gift of $1,000, maybe even $5,000. Those are the things that make it possible for us to keep growing this apostolate and keep sharing the good news. 888-291-8000.
And we have more people to thank. Denise from Ohio has donated $250 and asked for prayers for her family. Therese from Texas has donated $100. Joel from North Carolina, $150. Pam from Arizona, $200. Lorraine from Ohio, $100. Judy from Michigan, $200. Robert from Ohio, $250, and also a donation from Olathe, Kansas for $1,500. So thank you very much. That gets us 15% of the way to our $10,000 matching goal this hour, and also means a new person has just joined the Catholic Answers President's Club, Chris Check's personal club that he...
It's not a secret club.
It's not a secret.
We all want to be
I'm
part
the
of
one with the secret club.
Yes, right.
But
You can't. That doesn't make sense. You say on the radio, "I have a secret club."
Yeah.
That seems slightly. I got to think about that. I got to work that through.
that's a topic for another day.
Yeah, let's go to John in Dallas, Texas, listening on Guadalupe Radio. John, thank you so much for your call. You're on with Jimmy Akin. Your question, please.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I had a question. If I'm correct, wisdom is the second person of the Trinity, who is Jesus Christ. But wisdom is referred to as a woman in the Book of Wisdom, and I'm not sure how you reconcile those two things.
Okay. So in terms, obviously, Jesus as a human incarnated as a man. So he took on a male human nature, but in his divinity, he doesn't have a gender because God doesn't have genders. God includes the perfections of both masculinity and femininity and doesn't have a sex the way that we do. But in taking on a human nature, Jesus, in his humanity, took on a male one, and so he became a man. In terms of how to relate that to wisdom, it's natural that the Hebrews would depict wisdom as a woman when wisdom is personified, because in Hebrew, the word for wisdom, chokhmah, is a feminine word. Just like in languages like Spanish, you have, Latina would be a female person, whereas a Latino would be a male person. Hebrew words have gender as well, and chokhmah happens to be a feminine word, so it would be natural then, if you're going to personify wisdom, to personify it as a woman. And that's what the author of Proverbs does. That doesn't mean, though, that Jesus would have to be a woman, because this is a metaphor. It's personifications by their nature fall into the realm of metaphor and analogy, and that means they express aspects of the truth, but they're not meant to be taken literally. They're not full literal descriptions of the truth. They just convey aspects of the truth in a symbolic way. And so you can depict wisdom in this symbolic form as a woman without it requiring anything of or in any way restricting God's choice, when Jesus, who is the divine logos, which is also translated word or reason, and is analogous to wisdom. It doesn't restrict his choice in any way when he becomes a human being. And so we just, in looking at the personification of wisdom as a woman, we can note that it's natural to do it that way in Hebrew because of the way the language works, but it's just a symbol and doesn't carry further implications for God.
Okay.
Okay, John?
Great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, John. Another satisfied customer. Thanks so much for that call from Texas. I don't know if it just seems like the last couple of days, lots of calls from Texas, lots of questions in Texas, and we appreciate that. Let's try Michael in Lafayette, Indiana, watching on Facebook. Thanks for joining us on Facebook, Michael. Your question for Jimmy.
I've heard there's been some talk about communion potentially for non-Catholic spouses, and that got me thinking about an even more fundamental issue. And why does the church allow interfaith marriage in the first place for the sacrament of matrimony?
Okay, well, first of all, the reports that you've been hearing, they aren't about intercommunion in every circumstance with non-Catholic spouses. There, actually, right now, non-Catholic spouses are allowed to receive in a number of different circumstances, such as, if they're Eastern Orthodox, it's pretty easy to fulfill the conditions that are needed for them to receive communion in a Catholic church. In the case of Protestants, it is more difficult, but it's acknowledged that it's possible because they are baptized believers in Jesus Christ, they're fellow Christians, and if they share the church's faith in the Eucharist, so they believe in the real presence, and if certain other conditions are fulfilled, then it's possible for them to receive communion in the Catholic Church. It's not common because those conditions aren't always met. In fact, they're not usually met. But it is something that's possible in principle. And in the same way, the church has judged that it is, for pastoral reasons, even though it's not the ideal, it's judged for pastoral reasons that it is possible to have mixed marriages where you have a Catholic marrying a non-Catholic Christian. And it's even possible to have marriages where a Christian is married to a non-Christian. And there have been marriages like that from the first century onward, because there were, for example, you'd have two Greeks who were pagans raised as worshipers of the Greek gods. One of them would become a Christian and one wouldn't, but the church still continued to respect their marriage and to honor their marriage and say, yeah, this person's your husband, you need to, or your wife, you need to live with them, you need to do what you can to raise the children Christian, but this is a real marriage. And so even though it's not the ideal, there have been situations in history and our situations today where the pastorally most prudent thing to do is to allow someone to marry, even though that person is, the person they're marrying is not a Catholic. So it's basically a matter of pastoral prudence, and it's something that's always been part of church history.
Okay, Michael?
Okay, and so does the priest tell them what should be expected of the Catholic marriage, even though they're not Catholic?
According to the Code of Canon Law, the non-Catholic partner does need to be given instruction about what the Catholic's obligations are, including going to Mass, doing what that person can to raise the children Catholic and things like that. And it's typically required that they participate in a course of marriage preparation with the Catholic fiancé in the local diocese. And as part of that process, understanding the Catholic and Christian vision of marriage is something that is going to be talked about. Yeah.
Michael, I thank you so much for that call. Before we go to a break, I want to remind folks that we have a $10,000 match this hour. I see many, many lines open, so if you've been thinking about calling to help support this apostolate with your donation, give us a call, 888-291-8000 as we head into the break. 888-291-8000. Help us make sure we use up all of that generous matching gift that we have been given for this hour. 888-291-8000. We'll be right back after this with more on Catholic Answers Live.
We're here for you. Call now. Catholic Answers Live.
You've heard that St. Paul Street Evangelization supports hundreds of teams of evangelists sharing the good news. But did you know that some of these teams are public prayer stations? Set up a sign on the sidewalk and offer prayer and encouragement to those you encounter. Everyone needs prayer. Try this new method of witnessing to Jesus. Contact St. Paul Street Evangelization to get started at streetevangelization.com. That's streetevangelization.com.
Call now with your question. 888-318-7884. This is Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. A little bit of Wednesday open forum today, 2 hours of open forum. Open forum, of course, means that whether you're Catholic or not, you're welcome to call. Actually, it's rare the occasion where we say only Catholics or only non-Catholics, but sometimes we do. But we do want our non-Catholic friends and sometimes fellow Christians, sometimes just friends we haven't met yet, to know that you're always welcome to call here, 888-318-7884. And the reason I'm stumbling over the phone number is because I got two phone numbers that I'm juggling in my head this hour. The second one being 888-291-8000, and that is the donation line, 888-291-8000.
A stranger's just a friend you haven't met. That's from like a Disney movie, isn't it?
I don't know where that just popped into my head while I was talking, and
you can always depend on the kindness of strangers.
Now that is a Tennessee Williams play.
That's
I think.
right.
Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Streetcar Named Desire.
I knew it. I
It's
was going to.
Blanche Dubois' philosophy.
I was testing you. Oh, that's right. Okay. See the things that you learn on Catholic Answers Live. The things that you learn. If somebody knows the where that a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet comes from, you post it on Facebook. That'd be helpful. So just to remind you folks, kind of reset here for a quick minute. We only have we'll be on the air for about 12 more minutes this hour, and in those 12 minutes, we want to make sure we get to $10,000 pledged or given, because we have a $10,000 match this hour. The number to pledge, 888-291-8000. We are going to go back to calls. We're going to do our regular job of answering questions about the Catholic Church. But so just for a few minutes here, while we've got you, we want to ask you to give a call. 5 lines are full right now. That means about 10 lines are available. 888-291-8000. Ooh, what does that mean, Jimmy?
You've been watching Barney.
Barney?
Yeah, the big purple dinosaur.
What does Barney say?
A friend is a stranger.
Is that where it
Just a
comes
friend
from?
you haven't met.
Well, I have been watching Barney. Why wouldn't I watch Barney? It's like, you have better, more intellectual shows that
I
you
like
watch?
the Animaniacs version of Barney.
We are
Baloney.
Oh, he's called Baloney?
Yeah. Baloney is our friendly friend that we made up ourselves. Baloney is our friendly friend that we made up ourselves. That's how this Baloney song goes.
This is a meeting of intellectuals right now, Jimmy. When you and I are in the same room, that is some heavy-hitting intellect. We're covering Barney. We're covering Disney movies. We're covering the Animaniacs. Again, I want to give out that number, but I am going to go to a call right now. 888-291-8000. Please call and help support Catholic Answers.
Because we have only 15 minutes left in this hour, so we do need your support right now. 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersLive.com.
Back to Texas we go. Matthew in Carrizo Springs, Texas, watching on YouTube. Thanks for joining us on YouTube, Matthew. Your question for Jimmy.
Hi, yes. Can you hear me?
Yep. What's your question?
Okay. What is the Church's teaching on the development of doctrine? I know our Protestant brothers say that, a lot of the things that we believe now in modern-day Catholicism was not believed back then by the early Christians, that it was in a more, simplified way.
Mm-hmm.
And I just need something to respond with.
Okay. Well, even many people in the Protestant community will acknowledge that there is a development of doctrine that occurs over the course of time. It's rooted in the fact that Jesus said to the disciples that he would give them the Holy Spirit, who would lead them into all truth and bring to mind memory of the things that he had said and so forth. So the Holy Spirit would preserve in the church a knowledge of the things that Jesus said and help them understand those things by leading them into the fullness of the truth that God wanted revealed to mankind. So that's a process. The Spirit leads them. The Spirit doesn't just dump on them all the insights all at once. It's a transitional process. It's a leading experience. And it's something that's occurred over the centuries. That's only to be expected because as we've had now 20 centuries to reflect on the revelation that God gave us in Jesus, we've been able to think about it a little while and arrive at deeper insights that may not have been obvious to everyone right at first. But given those gaps of centuries and the continued action of the Holy Spirit on the believing community, we've penetrated more deeply and understood that revelation in a deeper fashion, which is what development of doctrine is. It's not inventing new doctrines out of nothing, but it's a greater understanding of the revelation we've already been given. And even many people in the Protestant community will admit that that's the case. So they'll acknowledge, not admit, that's the wrong word, they'll acknowledge that's the case. For example, I remember years ago when I was an evangelical, I listened to a tape ministry of a Presbyterian preacher named J. Vernon McGee. And I remember him talking about development of doctrine from a Protestant perspective. He acknowledged that, for example, because this is just ordinary history, everybody knows this, the divinity of Christ was defined at the First Ecumenical Council in 325, and then the divinity of the Holy Spirit was defined at the Second Ecumenical Council at Constantinople in 381. And then you had other early councils that were wrestling with the basic doctrine of God, because there were heresies popping up on these fundamental questions that went right to the core of the Christian faith. But then as those issues got settled, subsequently, theologians and councils went on to address more detailed issues. And so you can see this pattern unfolding in history where the big fundamental questions get dealt with first, and then as time progresses, the Holy Spirit leads the church into considering and figuring out specifically the details of other issues that are kind of lower down in the hierarchy of truths than, say, the divinity of Christ and the divinity of the Holy Spirit. And so he was, as a Protestant, perfectly prepared to acknowledge that that's a phenomenon that happens in history. And your Protestant friends, if they're historically aware, should be willing to acknowledge the same thing. They may not have a Catholic view on everything, but they should be able to acknowledge that, yeah, this is something that happens in history, and it's something that's rooted in biblical principles.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate the call. 888-318-7884 is the number for our open forum today. If you are thinking about calling in, if you've decided to call in and support Catholic Answers Live, support the ministry of Catholic Answers all around the world, we do need your support, and we do have a $10,000 match this hour. 888-291-8000 is that number, 888-291-8000.
And we got lots of lines open, and we've got less than 10 minutes left in the hour now. So, and especially when we go, so now is a great time to call, but once we hit the break, there's going to be like 4 or 5 minute break between the hours. That's an even better time to call. So now is a great time, but coming up is a really great time to call, and we've got lots of people standing by with lots of lines open. So 888-291-8000.
Jimmy, on Facebook, Matthew typed in the following question. Jimmy Aiken, do you agree that with the notion that the DC Universe moral compass has traditionally been more in line with Catholicism than Marvel's?
I don't know that I'd say Catholicism in particular, but I think the DC Universe has its moral compass set more in line with Christianity in general than Marvel has historically. Now, having said that, and I'm a DC fan primarily, but I also read Marvel. Having said that, there are a lot of Christian and even specifically Catholic elements in the moral universe. Daredevil is an explicitly Catholic superhero, and that's a theme. Catholicism is a theme that comes up regularly in Daredevil. Also, Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze. Back in the classic Ghost Rider series, there was a character who appeared. He had long hair and a beard, and he was just known as Johnny's friend. And the creator made it clear that he intended the friend to be Jesus Christ appearing to help Johnny redeem his soul.
Wow. All right. See, it is an open forum. You can ask any question you want, even about the DC and Marvel universes. Someone else asked about the morality of wielding Infinity Stones on Facebook, but maybe we'll get to that next hour.
Another time. Infinity Stones take a long time.
Oh, do they? Well, Infinity.
Yeah.
I mean, a whole bunch of people to thank. I want to ask if we can fill up the lines here as we go into the top of the hour break. We'll have that, as Jimmy said, extended break, and that is an opportunity to call and not miss anything on the show, or to go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. I do want to let you know that if you're driving somewhere, or if you don't have your credit card with you, or you just can't deal with that right now, you got kids in the car or whatnot, you can call, give us your name and address, and we'll just send you a letter and you fulfill it however you like. You don't have to go through all the, looking on the back of the credit card for the 3 numbers and all that. I don't know if they have to do that anyways, but I want to let you know that that's a possibility. If you just pick up the phone, call 888-291-8000. Help us use up this $10,000 dollar-for-dollar match this hour. Just by making a pledge, we'll send you a letter. It'll be there in a few days, and take care of it that way. A bunch of people to thank. Daniel in Owensburg, Kentucky. Thank you for your $500 gift. He wants prayers for his father and mother, who are both struggling with medical issues. Daniel, I will send that off to our chaplain to be remembered. Doug in Dallas, Texas, $500 gift. Each of those is doubled to $1,000, given our a match this hour. Grant in Omaha, Nebraska, $35. Thank you so much, Grant. Ronald from Massachusetts, $25. Catherine from Ohio, $100. Christina in Worcester, Massachusetts, $10 a month, along with Aaron from Iowa, also $10 a month. Corey in Edders, Pennsylvania, $50 a month. Thank you all so much for your very generous donations. 888-291-8000 is the number to join them in supporting Catholic Answers and making this apostolate available and to continue to be available and thrive all around the world. 888-291-8000.
And we do have lots of lines open right now. The great majority of the lines are open, in fact. So if you can fill those up, that would be awesome. And by the way, I mentioned earlier in the hour, if you are able to donate $1,000 or more during the course of a year, you become a member of the President's Club. And that's just $84 a month. So if you're thinking about, making a donation, ask yourself, could I afford $84 a month? If you could, then you'd become a member of the Catholic Answers Live President's Club and enjoy all the benefits of that, including getting everything that Catholic Answers publishes for free during the course of that year.
888-291-8000 is that number. We are going to take our usual top of the hour break, and we'll be back for a full hour of open forum. Jimmy's going to stay right here with me. Open forum means any question you've got about the Catholic faith, we're going to do our best to answer it. Don't forget that number. Give it a dial, 888-291-8000. We'll be right back with more after this on Catholic Answers Live.
Glad you're with us. Join us on air with your questions today on Catholic Answers Live.
In what forms does the Word of God come to us? How do we know that the Bible is inspired, inerrant, and complete? Why do we need tradition to help us understand Scripture? Doesn't the Bible teach that it alone is sufficient for salvation? In 20 Answers, Scripture and Tradition, you'll find smart, solid answers to these questions and many more, examining the first and most important issue in the Christian faith, the manner in which God has communicated to us the saving truths of the gospel. 20 Answers, Scripture and Tradition is part of the 20 Answers series from Catholic Answers, offering hard facts, powerful arguments, and clear explanations of the most important topics facing the Church and the world, all in a compact, easy-to-read package. Visit shop.catholic.com and take a look at this exciting new series from Catholic Answers Press.
Catholic Answers is a media ministry that serves Christ by explaining and defending the Catholic faith. We help Catholics grow in their faith, we bring former Catholics home, and we lead non-Catholics into the fullness of the truth. Our goal is to be the most trusted and accessible source for sharing, explaining, and defending the Catholic faith through as many media as possible, from personal contact to the most innovative means of mass communication. Have questions? We've got answers. Catholic Answers. Visit us today at Catholic.com or call us with your questions at 619-387-7200.
Are faith and science compatible? The world tells us no, but history shows otherwise. For it is in the Christian West that the pursuit of science has flourished. Our challenge is in reconciling the divide between faith and science in the popular imagination. Join us this September 27th to the 30th as we tackle the topic at Catholic Answers' 5th National Apologetics Conference, Faith and Science, a lively and inspiring conference designed to jumpstart Jumpstart Your Faith. We've got an all-star lineup of speakers guaranteed to make you think. Catholic scientist theologians, Stacy Trasenkos and Father Terrence Ehrman, all of your favorite Catholic Answers apologists, and special keynote speaker Raymond Leo Cardinal Burke. This is where it all begins. Join us this September for a conference that is sure to leave you wanting more. Early bird pricing ends July 2nd. Seats are still available, but they're going fast. Visit CatholicAnswersConference.com or call 1-888-291-8000 today to register. That's CatholicAnswersConference.com.
Did you know that Catholic Answers Live is on TV? What began as a monthly series on EWTN in April of 2017 is now going to be coming to you on a weekly basis. You can catch Catholic Answers Live TV Saturdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on EWTN, with an encore at 2:30 a.m. on Sundays. We'll also be available soon on Apple TV, Roku, and the Augustine Institute's multimedia platform, Form. Make a point of making Catholic Answers Live TV part of your weekly viewing, and we'll see you on the airwaves.
Sharing the gospel with family and friends can be challenging. It's especially hard when they won't even hear you out because of all the mental roadblocks they've built up. This is Carlo Broussard, and in my new book, Prepare the Way, my aim is to help you tackle that essential first step to apologetics and evangelization, getting people to listen with an open mind. Even our best witness can bounce right off folks like these if we don't prepare the way first, breaking down barriers and leaving minds and souls free to encounter the truth. I'll give you evidence and arguments and step-by-step strategies based on asking the right questions to help them overcome their obstacles and make a straight path for the Lord. Order your copy of Prepare the Way today by calling 1-888-291-8000, visiting the shop at Catholic.com, or asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you.
Welcome to Catholic Answers Live, the program where you participate with your questions about apologetics and evangelization, including the most important theological, spiritual, moral, and social issues facing the world today. Call now with your question for today's guest. Toll free 1-888-31-TRUTH. That's 888-318-7884. Now, from San Diego, Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live, second big hour of our great big Wednesday show. I'm Cy Kellett, your host, and I didn't intend to be misleading last hour, but I forgot. Tim Staples with us this hour. Jimmy will be with us both hours tomorrow. I had said Jimmy's coming back, and that was a mistake. Tim Staples, how are you?
I am Tim Staples. I am not Jimmy Akin. That is true.
Well, thank you for making that clear. I could tell by the haircut, to tell you the truth. It's not that hard to tell. I could tell from a mile away the difference between you two. We are in the midst of our quarterly pledge drive, so I'm just going to give out the number to call in if you have a question for Tim this hour, and then we will get to the other number. The number to call in if you have a question for Tim on any aspect of the life, the faith, the history of the Catholic Church is 888-318-7884. Or if you prefer the spelling version, it's 888-31-TRUTH. Give a call, and if you're on the line, hang on. We are going to do our very best to get to all the calls this hour. Just for a couple minutes to start this hour, we'll remind you that, I was going to say we'll remind you, but we actually have some news to share. Why don't you share that big, giant news for this hour?
I'm supposed to share?
You don't? Oh, maybe you don't know. We have a $15,000 match for this hour. Someone gave us $15,000.
We are on a roll.
I know.
$15,000 match. Oh my goodness! So now you're saying all the pressure is on.
It's on you. It's on you, Staples. Get this job done. Yes, it's on.
You know what? Thank you to the folks though who put up the money for matches, because that really, really makes a huge difference. And if some of you listening would like to do that for tomorrow or for the future, we would love to hear from you. But folks, that means we've really got to get on the phone lines. We had a little bit of a slow first hour. All right, so let's go. 888-291-8000. Folks, just so you know, this that we're doing now, this drive, and we don't do it very often. You know, some folks will get a little antsy about us asking for money. And gosh, Tim, you were really pushing it yesterday. Yeah, because I don't get a chance to do it very often. And let me tell you, we are not, you know me, I am not gun shy about asking for money because I know the lives that are changed through this apostolate, through this radio broadcast in particular. So folks, this is something worth supporting. We're talking about changing the lives of thousands upon thousands of people all around the world. So folks, jump on board with us. Maybe you were a little timid in the first hour here and gosh, maybe I should call. Yes, you should. Get that phone right now. Come on, get it. You got it right in your pocket there. That's right. That's smartphone. Pick it up. The number is 888-291-8000. That's 888-291-8000. Or you can go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. Folks, unless you've been living under a rock, you know this is true. We are in a cultural crisis right now in the United States of America, in the Western world, in the world in general. There has never been any more important time than now for the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ to be proclaimed to this world. This country, and the United States in particular, is in desperate need of Jesus, the real Jesus, the fullness of the gospel of Jesus Christ, and that's what we're about here. You're not going to get this on CNN and MSNBC and wherever else on television, but you're going to get it right here on Catholic Answers Live and over all of these stations. So folks, if we're going to continue, slow first hour, but we're going to pick it up right now. If we're going to continue, folks, we need your help. So please get on that phone, 888-291-8000, 888-291-8000, or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com with a $15,000 match. Everything you get, you give $1,000 right now, it instantly becomes $2,000. We were talking yesterday, Si. Somebody gives $5 a month.
Yes.
That becomes $120, just like that.
Right.
Because it's doubled to $10 a month times 12 is $120. That is amazing, folks. Come on. There is no gift that's too small. $5 a month becomes $120. That is a deal. I see we've got some more phone callers, but we got too many empty lines, guys. 888-291-8000. I'm excited, Si.
I can hear it. 888-291-8000. We should be excited when we have this generous gift of $15,000 to say, hey, if you can raise $15,000, you can have $15,000. That means so much. And we've got all these wonderful listeners around the country and around the world. If you are an international listener and you would like to support Catholic Answers Live, and the entire apostolate, you can go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. Anywhere in the world, you can give money there. CatholicAnswersLive.com. It is, if you're using a phone, it will adjust to that. It's mobile friendly, so you can do it very quickly, very easily there. Because sometimes it's not easy on the phone to give money from overseas. You can always go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. And then I wish you'd call the show and tell us why you did it, because we love to hear from our listeners in Australia and South America and Asia, and we got so many listeners in Africa now. I hear from folks from Africa every day, and you know what I learned this week? 200 million Catholics in Africa. That's a pretty good pool of people to be able to speak to and speak with and share the gospel with, and so that's what we're about, sharing the gospel everywhere we can. Many of of you who have supported us in the past have made possible, well, this studio that we're sitting in right now.
Yep.
These cameras that make the show available via Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and everywhere else online. All these things that these young people know about that I've never even heard of, we're there. And
Yes.
you know, we'll email it to you. We'll tweet it to you. So one way or another, we're going to get the gospel to you. And all of that is made possible by those who have given in the past. That's why you're hearing us right now. What about all those who need to hear us a year from now or 2 years from now or a month from now? This is your opportunity to share the gospel with them. We are all called to be evangelizers. We're just asking you to join us in this particular effort to share the gospel. A $15,000 match is a little bit of encouragement as well.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
888-291-8000 is the number, 888-291-8000. If you're able to make a monthly pledge, those are very, very helpful to us. And if you can make a monthly pledge of $18 or more, we have been given these wonderful books. Peter Kreeft's brand new book, 40 Reasons I'm a Catholic, from one of the most important writers in the Catholic world today. And The First Society, the Sacrament of Matrimony and the Restoration of the Social Order from Scott Hahn, the other most important Catholic writer in the world today. I mean, we did pretty good this time on those books. If you're able to make a gift of $500 or more, well, for one, thank you very much, but we'll add to those 2 books, Presence, The Mystery of the Eucharist, brand new DVD set from the Augustine Institute, who makes some of the finest Catholic DVDs in the world.
Amen.
888-291-8000 is the number. Now we've got to go do our day job. We'll go to Eileen in Woodstock, Virginia, listening on EWTN. Eileen, you are on with Tim Staples. Your question.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
I just adore the station. My question is about the Ten Commandments.
Yes.
And the Orthodox Church. A few weeks ago, I was listening, and I'm not sure who it was, what host was talking about this, but he said that Calvin, the Protestant Ten Commandments are different from ours because Calvin created, he put together 8 and 9 or 9 and 10. So he made room for number 2, which there should be no idols made.
Right.
And that's why they don't have statues and that sort of thing.
Right.
But what about the Orthodox Church?
Right.
They don't follow Calvin.
Yeah. As far as I know, the Orthodox list their 10 Commandments just as we do. And of course, the problem with Calvin's rearranging that, now it's, I don't know who said what, but I wouldn't say Calvin rearranged them. I would say he went with the Hebrew, the Jewish understanding of the or the listing, I should say, of the 10 Commandments. And so that's a little bit different from him sort of rearranging or creating it. The bottom line is the way that they are ordered by both the Jews and by the Protestants who adopted the Jewish position is you have a real problem in the listing of the 10 Commandments. For those who don't know, what the Protestants did is they combined the 9th and 10th commandments, which is thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. That's the 9th commandment. The 10th commandment is thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's property. They put those into one commandment, which kind of goes along what you have apparently in Exodus chapter 20. The way the 10 commandments are listed, the wife and the property kind of got muddled up there in the early version of the 10 commandments. However, in Deuteronomy 5, and by the way, there was development in the Old Testament canon, Deuteronomy 5 gets it very clear to where you have 2 different Hebrew verbs, one for coveting wife and one for coveting property, to make that distinction clear. It's not that it wasn't there in the earlier version, but it was a bit muddled. The later version of the 10 Commandments has it clear. You cannot put a wife on the same level as property. I know not in my house. I'd be in big trouble if I tried to do that with my wife. And again, the problem with Calvin's and the Protestants' version too is when you split up the first 2, you're being redundant, because the first commandment is thou shalt not make any graven image of any likeness of anything, be it in heaven or earth or under the sea, and thou shalt not bow down and adore them. That's one commandment. If you split it up into 2, you're being redundant. It's thou shalt not have any gods before me, and then make no graven images. Well, that's the same thing, because both commandments are condemning idolatry. Clearly, God is not condemning having any statues or images, because in Exodus 25:18, God commands Moses, thou shalt make 2 golden cherubim out of beaten gold, and they were to be placed over the mercy seat, the holiest place in all of Israel, over the Ark of the Covenant, which would then be placed into the tabernacle and later into the temple, the holiest place in all of ancient Israel. So the problem is theologically you run into a mess with the Protestant numbering. Hey, you know what? We Catholics got it right.
Does that work for you, Eileen?
Oh, Oh, does it? That's great. Thank you very much.
Okay, God
Thank
bless
you, Eileen. Thanks so much for that call. I want to go back again to remind you to fill up the phone lines because I'm looking right now. 2 lines are full. That means about 13, 14, 15 are empty. I can't count from over here.
Hey, and
That's
you know
so
what?
far away.
One thing I wanted to note, real last thing for Eileen, is it wouldn't surprise me if you don't have an Orthodox version of the Ten Commandments that would concur with the Protestant, because they do have a history of iconoclasm. So, you know, there might be that. I'm not aware of it, but that would be interesting to look at. If you might see, like perhaps the Russians or one of the Orthodox communities, it wouldn't surprise me because of that history. Which, by the way, today, I mean,
Didn't they resolve that in favor of icons, though?
Yes.
Okay.
In 787 at the Second Council of Nicaea. But
Yeah.
I'm just.
But since that history's there.
Exactly. It wouldn't surprise me. So I thought I'd toss that in. And what a great question.
What a great question. And thank God we have Rublev. 888-291-8000 is the number to call if you would like to help us while we are raising money right now. We only do this 4 times a year. We only do it for a few hours the week we do it. And we are more than past our halfway point now. So we've just got a couple more hours now that we can come to you and ask you for your help and support. And we have $15,000 on the line this hour. $15,000. Someone has promised us if we can raise $15,000, and that's what we're doing. We're coming to you to raise that $15,000. 888-291-8000. Please pick up that phone and make your donation. If you don't have your credit card handy, don't worry about it. Just give your name and address. We'll send you a letter. It'll get there in a few days, and we'll take care of it that way. We want to just make it as easy as we can on you. 888-291-8000.
And folks, we've got a lot of folks that are twiddling their thumbs right now. There's a lot of open lines. We really need to hear from you. We had a kind of a slow first hour, and we're off to kind of a slow start. Folks, it's time. Right now, we need to kick it in gear at 888-291-8000. Or again, you can go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. I know I'm not supposed to fear, and I'm supposed to trust the Lord. Cy is trying to teach me this. He was trying yesterday, but I got to tell you, I'm getting a little nervous because we got $15,000 match on the line, and we're not even close. We haven't even got started here, and we're 15 minutes in. So, folks, if you like what you're hearing and have heard on Catholic Answers, folks, we bring to you the very best from Catholic culture. We've had everyone from Cardinal Burke to Cardinal Arinze, Cardinal Pell to Archbishop Sample. We could give you a list of cardinals and bishops that have been on our broadcast, from priests like Father Spitzer, Father Mitch Pacwa, and how many could we list in the category? Our own Father Hugh Barber. I would pay just to hear him every day, Father Hugh Barber, as well as, the lay theologians and apologists every day, folks. Cy, I remember talking with Father Mitch Pacwa a few years ago. We were doing a conference together, and afterward, me and some buds from the conference were up in his hotel room and sipping some scotch. Did I say that? And he made the point, and it's rattled in my head ever since. This is years ago. He said, we are living in a unique time in history, because the perennial problem that we've had as Catholics is in every generation we have the greatest minds in the world are Catholic, and that's not by accident. And you can go to any, whether it's medical doctors, philosophers, to theologians, of course, you name the field, and God blesses us in every it's astonishing. But the problem is, Cy, is getting that wonderful knowledge, especially when it comes to faith and morals, into the hands of the average and into the head of the average Joe sitting in the pew. That's been the perennial problem, is communicating that great faith so that the average Joe can go out into the highways and byways and share it. Well, with the advent of Catholic radio, we have an incredible thing that's happened, because you are able, this is never unprecedented in the history of the world. You never were able to hit a radio switch, bam, and there's Thomas Aquinas talking to you.
Right.
But
Carlo does that. When we have Carlo sitting here, he'll give you Thomas Aquinas.
That's right. I mean, this is such a great gift. And for so many years, my Catholic friends, our Protestant friends, were killing us in the radio field. Thousands of stations when we had 3.
Right.
You know, back in 1994, when I started in this, 3 stations to their 3,000 roughly, or 2,000, whatever it was. I mean, it was a crime. Thanks be to God for that little nun in Alabama.
Amen.
Mother
to that.
Angelica jumped on board here, and now we have, over 350 stations, I think, Si, and it's growing.
Right.
Just got a new one in Atlanta. Exciting. It's
Big one in
happening.
Atlanta,
Folks,
too.
you can now flip the switch and hear from some of the greatest minds in Catholicism today. It answers your question. This is priceless. But, folks, it won't stay here. Trust me, it won't if you don't support us. So please get on the phones now at 888-291-8000 or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com.
888-291-8000. Lots of lines open, lots of money on the line because someone has given us $15,000 and said if you can raise 15 this hour, you can have that whole 15. A bunch of people to thank real quick. These folks called 888-291-8000 already, and every dollar that they gave or pledged was matched 100%, dollar for dollar. Philomena from Maple, Ontario, Canada, $100. Thank you so much, Philomena. Greg in Wichita, Kansas, $125. Joseph in Denver, please pray for his family to return to the church, he says, $500. Thank you, Joseph. We will pray for that. We do pray for that every day here for ourselves and for so many, because we all have had that experience. Mary from New York, $50. Every dollar matched, dollar for dollar. Donna from Texas, $100. DJ from Minnesota, $100. Richard from Magnolia, Texas, $500. Bernadine from Nevada, $50. Prayut from San Antonio, Texas, $100. He asked us to pray for his daughter. We will certainly do that, Prayut. Merrill from Texas, $25 a month. Let me just tell you about that $25 a month one. That $25 a month is $300 a year. That $300 is matched already from our donor. That's $600 total that comes to us. And also because Prayut was able to, that was Merrill from Texas, was able to pledge a more than $18 a month, we can send him Peter Kreeft's 40 Reasons I'm a Catholic, a fantastic new book, the brand new book from Peter Kreeft, as well as the brand new book from Scott Hahn. We're sending it both to him. And Scott Hahn's new book is The First Society, the Sacrament of Matrimony, and the Restoration of the Social Order. 888-291-8000. I'm going to go back to the phones.
Let's do it.
But I want to ask you, let's fill up the donor lines right now. Just a couple hours left in this drive this time. 888-291-8000. Every pledge you make, whether it's $1, $1,000, or $5,000, will be matched dollar for dollar. 888-291-8000. We go now to Mitch in Duluth, Minnesota, listening on EWTN. Mitch, your question for Tim Staples.
Yeah, hi, Tim. I got a question
Yes,
for you for
sure.
studying church fathers.
Yes.
So I'm a youth group leader at my parish here, and I've been with my guys in 6th grade, and they're getting confirmed in a couple of weeks here. So they want to continue study after our parish classes, and we talked
Yes.
about doing the church father.
Yes.
So funds are a little bit tight, so maybe something cheap online like Ignatius of Antioch that we can review and compare to the Catechism, or potentially Jimmy Akin's book, The Fathers Know Best. And I was curious what you would have for recommendations on how to do that study.
Well, not that I'm biased or anything, because I happen to love Jimmy Akin. He's my favorite apologist. But I just have to say that that's a book, The Fathers Know Best, that is really astonishing. What he did in one volume is amazing. I mean, if you want to go deep into the Fathers, maybe Johann Quasten, right? But that's multiple volumes. Jimmy, in one volume, gives you an overview of the Fathers, the doctrinal issues, even gives you, the background of where they lived, where they came from, the controversies that were going on, and those sorts of things to help you to understand. And he's got some just theological gems in there, like where he points out St. John Cassian was a semi-Pelagian, right? Whoa, how can he be a saint if he was a... Well, because that was before semi-Pelagianism was formally condemned, back when the battle was still raging. And that, I mean, he's got gem after gem in there. So I recommend Jimmy's book to everyone because it's so readable. He covers an enormous amount of ground. And then, of course, you can go on from that, as I said, with Quasten or reading the Fathers if you really want to dive in, right? go to newadvent.org and you can read. But most folks don't have time to read. As the old saying is, anybody who says they've read all of Augustine is a liar. Right? It's like
except for Augustine himself.
That's right. And I'm not even sure he read all of Augustine, but does that help at all? I mean, I really think, there are great little books. I would also recommend, something like Lightfoot's Apostolic Fathers, because you really do need to read, because, there's not a whole lot of them, the Apostolic Fathers, get a sense of that. And some of the earliest fathers like Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Ignatius of Antioch, of course, Ignatius is one of the Apostolic Fathers, but then Justin Martyr is just beyond the Apostolic Fathers, and Irenaeus, Clement of Alexandria. You can really sink your teeth into their writings. They're not huge, voluminous,
right,
and you're able to really get a good sense of things. But at any rate, that would be my recommendation. I think Jimmy's book is absolutely astonishing. It's fantastic.
Okay, Mitch?
Perfect. Thanks, Tim.
All right. God bless you now.
Hey, Tim, real quick, I want to read you something from Facebook while we're in the midst of our pledge drive here. 888-291-8000 is the number to call if you're ready to make a pledge. But Jennifer on Facebook, what a nice message. Thank you for sharing the commandments response. I just came home this Easter from Protestantism, and Catholic Answers, especially Tim Staples, have had a huge influence on that. I've shared your books with our campus ministry.
Wow.
Jennifer, what an encouraging message.
Amen.
Thank you so much for that. That's what it's all about. It's person to person, one person at a time. But somehow through the miracle of radio, that person-to-person contact can happen over great distances, and it can happen to great numbers of people.
And can I add something to I really appreciate those kind words, but I will tell you something about our apologists. We're the only organization that I know that has a line you can call and actually talk to an apologist. On Tuesday, I made 6 calls, had incredible conversations with folks about various issues, right? Now, I don't know of anybody else that does that, but we do the personal contact that we do, thousands per year, is a lot of folks don't know that. That's what we do here. And we just got a note yesterday this happened to be a prisoner who sent us a note and said, it was a handwritten note from me, and I sent him some books in prison. That's the reason why he's Catholic today. I think that was yesterday.
Yeah, that was right here on
right?
the show.
And I don't say that to toot my horn or anything. That's what we do here at Catholic Answers. So we don't just, preach it on the radio and then see you later. We follow up with folks. In fact, I was supposed to meet with a troubled kid, a local kid here today at 3 o'clock. That's why I wasn't on the phone lines, by the way, taking callers, but he didn't show. So if you're listening right now, I'm coming after you, all right? No, I'm joking. But these are things we do. It was a troubled young man who had lost his faith and is now claiming agnosticism. So I said, hey, come on over. We'll chat for an hour or so.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff we do here, folks. And let me tell you, we're able to do it because of the gifts that you guys send in. I wish we could. I said this yesterday. Get all the testimonies to you folks, because I'll guarantee you we wouldn't have all these empty lines right now if you read half, a third, a tenth of the letters that we read that come on a consistent basis talking about lives changed, Catholics who had left the sacraments coming home,
marriages reborn.
Oh my goodness, folks. We really need to hear from you. We got lots of open lines. There's only 4-5 callers. Let's go. 888-291-8000. We really need to hear from you now. 888-291-8000 or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com.
888-291-8000 will be a couple minutes away. Perfect time to make that call. 888-291-8000. And when we come back, we are going to address caller questions. So hang on if you're on the line. We'll be right back with more on Catholic Answers Live.
Catholic Answers Live would like to take this opportunity to thank our partners in airing our daily program. Please support the stations and networks that carry us each day, ensuring that we have a platform for broadcasting the show. And please bear in mind that while we do not have to pay for airtime on our affiliate stations, neither do they contribute to the operating costs we incur. It's a great relationship, but it requires that we turn to you, our devoted listeners, for your prayers and financial support to cover our ever-growing expenses. Please call 888-291-8000 right now and help to keep Catholic Answers Live strong. That's 888-291-8000. Or you can donate securely online at CatholicAnswersRadio.com. What began as a humble 1-hour daily show that was carried by 4 radio stations has, with the generosity of many fantastic people like you, blossomed into a 2-hour broadcast heard on hundreds of AM and FM stations, the internet, Sirius XM radio, Facebook, YouTube, and via podcast. We don't make that possible. You do. We simply cannot continue this media mission without your most generous gift today. Call 888-291-8000 or log on to CatholicAnswersRadio.com and donate now. People tell us all the time how much they depend on Catholic Answers Live to help them better learn, live, and share their faith. What they're really saying is they depend on you for that. Will you come through for them right now? It only takes a couple of minutes to make a huge difference at 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. Again, 888-291-8000 or CatholicAnswersRadio.com. No matter how much you give, be assured of our gratitude and know that God will richly bless you. Phone 888-291-8000 or go to CatholicAnswersRadio.com. It's important that you take this important step right now, today, to make sure that Catholic Answers Live is here tomorrow and for years to come. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Father Larry Richards.
You know, I'm from the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and both of my parents, both of them, were police officers. My father was a police officer, and my mother was a police officer. They always thought I'd be a cop, too, and in some ways I am, a spiritual cop. But we keep doing what we do, and we come from wherever we come from, it doesn't matter. Where God is calling us is what's most important.
Open Line with Father Larry Richards, Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Thank you to everybody who has called in during the break. It's so exciting to watch the lines light up.
Yes.
We know that means so much, that's a real act of love and generosity on your part to do that. We're doing our best to share the Catholic faith. As Tim said, I don't think that anybody here is under the illusion that, hey, it's all about me or I'm so important or whatnot, because we know the number of people it takes to make this happen. Literally, it takes hundreds, thousands of people who make their donation pray for us, all the different ways that people support us. We know that every day. We know it in a very visceral way because that's the reality of the life that we live here, is that we depend entirely upon you to keep this thing going, and we do it together. We're grateful for that. I don't think Catholic Radio can be like anything else in the world. It's an institution that is really making a huge difference in many, many places now. But it can't be an institution like other institutions because everything that we do as Catholics is about us gathered together around Christ, especially in the Eucharist. And so we have to, about building community and drawing people towards community is the key thing. We're not just a people of the Word, we're people of Word and sacrament, and Christ is present to us in those sacraments. And I think that's what binds us all together and what we really want the world to know about. We really want to share that. And so that's, I believe in my heart, that's why folks call. That's why so many thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people now are supporting Catholic Radio, whether it's their local station or EWTN or us here at Catholic Answers. What we do is we make content. We provide content to radio stations. Your radio station in general, a Catholic radio station is local people who have done heroic work to raise money, to find stations, to learn how Catholic radio works, because often, it's a person who, folks who are in business or moms and dads or teachers or whatnot who get together and do it. I think, many bishops and even the entire Catholic bishops together tried to start radio stations, tried to start TV stations and networks, and it didn't work. And my own feeling, Tim, I don't know how you feel about it. I believe God wanted the laity to step up and do it, get out there and do it. And wow, have they?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The council, as well as post-conciliar documents, commanded us as Catholics.
Yeah.
The warnings were so strong that perhaps at the time, some folks would say, come on, they're being a little extreme. Because imagine, in early 1960s, and the church is saying, if we don't use television, radio, all the media to propagate the faith, the enemy of our souls will.
Yeah.
And at a time where the most, risque stuff on TV was Ain't B on Don't
get me started there, Tim.
Hey, she showed some ankle. I'm telling you right now. Seriously though.
Yeah, right.
And yet it was prophetic calling And yet we didn't. You know, the bishops made some attempts. It never worked. It never came to fruition. We didn't do it. Look at what's happened to our culture, but praise be to God. I mentioned Mother Angelica, but she did it. And now, praise God. But folks, we can't let this thing, because, man, if we don't support it, it will go away. We've seen networks rise and fall.
Right here in San Diego, we've seen it.
Oh, my goodness, Catholic Family Radio. I remember when I helped get it started, or we did when I was at St. Joseph Communications, and it fell apart. Folks, don't think you're going to just have this radio forever if you don't support it. We've seen stations rise and fall. We've seen apostolates rise and fall. So, folks, give us a call. Now, we need you at 888-291-8000. Folks, we've got a lot of open lines right now. 888-291-8000. CatholicAnswersLive.com. You can go online. But, folks, we got a $15,000 challenge, and we just got a note that we are not even close. We have a long way to go. We need you guys now. If you were thinking about it, you're debating, well, maybe. Guess what? Now's the time, because we're not even close. We need you now at 888-291-8000. And remember, don't let the devil tell you you're $25 a month. What is that? That's everything for us. That's $300, and it'll be doubled to $600 if you call now.
888-291-8000 is the number. 888-291-8000. You might go up and down the radio dial and find nothing but people being angry or people being licentious or all kinds of disedifying things. If we can present Catholic radio just on one station in each market, even just on one state where we are joyful about our Catholic faith, where we tell the truth about what a human being is, because that's where the root of the lie is now. We don't even tell the truth about what a human being is.
Amen.
And we can tell the truth about how beloved each human person is by God himself, by Christ, God who has come among us. That one station on that dial can clean up an awful lot of messes. It can set a lot of hearts free. It can set hearts on fire. It can return people to a sense of who they are and what their mission is in the life. And when you're calling now, you're making that possible. 888-291-8000. 888-291-8000 is the number. We have a $15,000 dollar-for-dollar match this hour. We will be on the line for on the air for 21 more minutes. That's what we go off a little before the top of the hour. So 21 minutes we'll be on the air, and we got a long way to go to use up that match. And this is the time, maybe we can say, Tim, those folks who are especially blessed, we come to you in our need, not because we're trying to drive fancy cars and all that kind of stuff.
Amen.
We come to you in our need. Maybe you have been especially blessed, and $1,000, a $2,500, a $5,000 gift is not outside of your means.
We might need one of those to make this match, folks,
we
because
do.
we're getting down to it now. We've got 20 minutes left, and we got a long way to go.
Chris Check, our president, has been on the phone, on the line taking calls.
How did he get in here?
I know he snuck away from the phones to come talk to us. Hi, Chris.
I have the password to the door.
Come on.
To get it's the one password. They don't give you the password to shipping and receiving it. Yeah. But okay, so Cy, I'm going to say two things.
Yeah.
First of all, I just got off the phone with a magnificent gentleman from Oregon who called yesterday and made a gift, and he called back again today to make a monthly pledge.
Wow.
So
bless him.
So this is an inspiration. I want everyone who called yesterday
call again
and made a gift to call back again today and make a monthly pledge, or if you can, please God, because we're not at this goal. And then, Cy, Tim, I want to tell you another story. There were a couple. There was a couple from Pennsylvania that I spoke to last hour. They came into the church this Easter vigil, and Catholic Answers Live was the thing that brought them into the church.
Praise God.
So okay, two things. First of all, what is that? What does that cost? If you listeners here, let me be very blunt. Can I be blunt? Cy?
Yes,
okay.
please. Can you be anything else is the question,
No, it's
Chris.
my specialty. I know. So, I was in the Marines. I talked to a former Marine today, by the way, a Marine veteran.
Yeah?
Okay, I'll get to that in a second. So, let me be blunt. What if I said to you, for $100, you could bring somebody into the Catholic Church?
Yeah,
Right?
amen. Right.
Well, you would say that's a bargain.
Yeah.
Actually, for $10 million to bring someone to the Catholic Church, that would be a bargain, right?
Yes.
But
Right.
for $100 or 50 or 5 or 10 a month or whatever it is, you're going to help somebody into the fullness of the truth.
Right.
How do you put a price on that? You don't.
No.
You absolutely do not. And then the other thing they told me, Si, and I want to tell you this. They said the reason they said you all have so much information and you present it so well and so clearly, Si, Tim, Jimmy, Carlo, Trent, all our guests. And then the other thing they said, you do it with so much heart. Right?
Isn't that beautiful? I'm so glad to hear that because we believe it with all our heart.
Well, but you know what they meant by that. They meant charity.
Okay.
That you have a heart for the caller side. I've told you this. And the people who listen to this show know that you do. And I said to him, my response to him was this: we're not going to get anybody into the church by being tendentious or argumentative. And he said, and they said to me, we love it when you get people on the show who disagree with you and then you walk them through it. Yeah. And there's no other show that does this.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I got to look up tendentious, but I appreciate that. But
okay, I want a gift from everyone who doesn't know what tendentious means.
Yeah, right. $5 if you don't know what tendentious means. Here
Listen,
you go.
my
I'll get
friends, we can't leave this money on the table. Please, please don't. I don't want to call this donor and say we didn't make that match. Okay. 291-8000, 888-291-8000, CatholicAnswersLive.com. I'm going to go back to the phone, so maybe you'll even get to talk to Chris Check. I'm sorry if you get me, but because I'm going to keep you on the phone.
He won't be tendentious, though, I can tell you that.
I promise to be charitable, not tendentious. 888-291-8000, 888-291-8000. Please help us get to this match.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for coming in. Let's do our job. Let's
do
go
it.
to Philip in Connecticut,
Yes.
listening on EWTN. Philip, thanks so much for your call. You're on with Tim Staples. Your question, Philip.
Okay, good evening, gentlemen. Thank
Yes.
you for taking my call. Great
Welcome.
program. My question is the following.
Yes.
I had a conversation with a buddy of mine, actually around Christmas time a few months ago.
Yes.
And he had informed me, and he had backed it up as well. But he said that Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. In fact, not even in the month of December. That most likely it was possibly September, October time frame based on certain details in the gospel and in the scriptures regarding the period in time, weather, place, the practice of herding, shepherds, and the traveling of the wise men. And so I just wanted to know if, in fact, this was an establishment from the church.
Right. No, it's not. In fact, the church does not have a definitive teaching as to whether Jesus Christ was born actually on December 25th. And what I always point out to folks is, look, even if he wasn't, you know, if you have a family and you adopt a child from a poor country and you don't know when their birthday is, wouldn't you come up with a day to celebrate a birthday? Of course you would in the family. So even if Jesus wasn't born on December 25th, of course we celebrate his life, his incarnation, his entire life up to and including the cross and the resurrection, because that is our salvation. So, of course, we're going to celebrate it. Now, having said that, I believe Jesus Christ was born on December 25th. And in fact, there's a lot of evidence that proves it. I would encourage you to go to my website at timstaples.com. I have an article there, Was Jesus Born on Christmas Day? And I give you arguments that indicate, yes, he was. In fact, we have the ancient testimonies of men like St. John Chrysostom and St. Ambrose who had access to the Roman archives that demonstrated, of course, those archives would have been later destroyed. And the arguments that, oh, well, it would have been too cold at that period of time so the shepherds wouldn't be in the field, these arguments are absolutely crazy. You talk to anybody who lives there now, and of course, when you're a shepherd, especially a poor shepherd, it depends upon the weather, but you have your sheep in the field as long as you possibly can, because it's a lot cheaper than having to, bundle grass and hay and bring it to a barn and all of that stuff. So there is no problem whatsoever with saying that there would have been shepherds in the field into December, and also the traveling. To say, oh, it would have been too cold, the wise men would not travel. That too is bogus. There's no historical evidence for this. In fact, check out my article there, and I also deal with the claims that we stole the feast from the Mithras, or the feast dedicated to Saturnalia, the Roman god, and all of that. Those are all myths. They're absolutely not true. In fact, I show you evidence that actually it was the pagans that attempted to co-opt December 25th and not the other way around, because the Christianity was growing by leaps and bounds. But anyway, the most important point is the Catholic Church doesn't have a definitive teaching on this, but there is a whole lot of historical evidence. Check it out, timstaples.com. Was Jesus born on Christmas Day? Thanks so much for your call.
Thank you, Philip, so much. You hear this. I want to just run this by you because Philip raises this question, and I think about this sometimes. People say, "Well, it's really Christmas is just the church appropriating the celebration of the winter solstice." But am I wrong in thinking December 25th is not the winter solstice?
It's not.
Okay, did I miss something?
That's right. In fact, the pagan feasts were earlier than that. Normally started around the early to mid-December, and would have been over long before December 25th. You're right. But again, it's interesting to see how some of the fathers will talk about, I mentioned St. John Chrysostom and others will talk about these feasts that are going on. And this is what I say as well. So what if the church did
just pick a day?
And let's say take over a pagan feast day.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, what we have to understand, Jesus called us to be leaven, to go out into the world and transform it from the inside out. If the church decides, hey, we're going to take, like my Muslim friends will say that, John the Apostle, he uses this term logos, or word, for Christ. Christ never used that. That was pagan infiltration into Christianity. No, it wasn't. It's called, John, he used the term logos. It was a loaded term. It was a term used by the Stoics as the substratum out of which all things come, to which all things are ordered, and a non-rational force, kind of like Star Wars.
Yeah.
But what better term to use for Jesus Christ as God, because he is not an impersonal force, but he is God, from whom all things have come and to which all things go. So praise God that we take what is good, even from pagan culture, baptize it, if you will.
Right.
Oh, that's being leaven in the middle of the world. But at any rate, again, check out that article at timstaples.com. Was Jesus born on Christmas Day? Folks, you know what? We are coming down to the wire here. And as our president said, we're not close. We really need you to get on the phones now. We got to make this $15,000 match. And we've still got a good ways to go, don't we? We just got an update.
That number?
I just saw the update, and it's not looking good. All right. Folks, we've got a number of open lines right now, folks. We need you. Maybe you've already given, folks. Now might be the time to double that. Last drive, you gave that $25 a month. How about making it $50? Let's double it. Add to the gifts you've already given, folks. We really need to hit this. 888-291-8000. We are coming down to the wire. We're not there. We need you now. 888-291-8000, or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com.
And if you think Catholic Answers Live is not changing lives, well, it is.
Hi, my name is Austin Perez. I watch Catholic Answers Live every single day, Monday through Friday. I personally wanted to call and thank everyone at Catholic Answers. It's been a huge blessing to my life. I considered myself kind of like in that gray area of a Catholic, believing but not really practicing how I should have been. So you guys have been a tremendous help with my own spiritual journey. Thank you so much.
Austin, thank you. Thank you for that call. Austin gave us permission to share that, but that's what we hear all the time. I mean, all the time we're hearing that, and that's because we do this together. That number, I'll give you again, 888-291-8000. You can go to CatholicAnswersLive.com. That is a phone-friendly or mobile-friendly spot to go to. So if you're using a mobile device, I want to stress also, if you're in traffic or you're just dealing with the kids now, or you're cooking or something, you don't have time to go get the credit card and read those little numbers and all that. You can just call 888-291-8000, make your pledge, and then we'll send you a letter. And then you fill it out. You just send back a check, or you give the credit card information there, whatever. So you can do it in 30 seconds, really, and get it done. 888-291-8000. $15,000 on the line this hour. We're very grateful for your help. We're all in this together. Oh, now I'm quoting Disney things again, I think. Billy in, I'm going to say Colchester, Connecticut. It could be Colchester. I'm not exactly sure. Billy, you're on with Tim Staples.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Billy.
Welcome, Billy.
My call.
Yes, what's on your mind, brother?
Yeah, it's funny. I called last week, and I left the mute button on.
Oh, you and I are the same with the phones then, Billy. We have the same talent with phones. What's your question for Tim?
All right. So my question is, why do people pray the rosary in Eucharistic adoration? Because Mary's the intercessor, so she brings us to Christ. But Christ is right there in the Eucharist, so why in the world would you do that?
Yes, well, Billy, it's a great question. It's interesting, isn't it? Before the reforms of Vatican Council II, it was quite popular for folks to pray the rosary during Mass. And, of course, the council and the church has explicitly stated that's not a good idea, because the Mass is the highest form of prayer, the most perfect prayer, where Jesus is offering himself to the Father, and so it's actually discouraged to do any private devotions during the holy sacrifice of the Mass. However, the Church does not say the same concerning adoration. Very interestingly, Billy, the Church has not said that, and so we have to, as Catholics say, that if someone in their private devotion, because remember, Eucharistic adoration is also a private devotion. You do not have to go to Eucharistic adoration, as we do have to go to Mass on Sundays and feast days. It's one of the precepts of the Church, necessary for salvation. And so in the context of that private devotion of Eucharistic adoration, if it helps a person to adore our Lord even more. And remember, Billy, that when you pray the rosary, you're meditating on the mysteries of our redemption. And so you're meditating upon the incarnation. You're meditating upon, and yes, you're meditating on the life of the Blessed Virgin Mary as well, but always in relation to Jesus. And so there's no sort of intrinsic contradiction here. But Billy, if in your spirituality you say, look, I'm not going to do something that's a Marian devotion because I got Jesus right here, that's fine too. But I know many, many folks who would say the rosary actually helps them in their Eucharistic adoration, because they are praying to the mother of the Eucharist, in Mary, who always, always, always leads us to her Eucharistic Son. So this is a matter that, different Catholics have different spiritualities and ways to help them. I remember years ago, Cy, my spiritual director in the seminary, we were talking about the charismatic gifts and whatnot. And, he had some difficulty with some charismatic practices, but he said, I'll never forget this. He said, Tim, if it helps folks to pray, I am in favor. As long as the Church doesn't condemn it, it helps folks to pray, do it, right? Do it, all right.
Thanks, Billy. I'm glad you missed the mute button this time. Call again. It was good talking with you, Billy. A whole bunch of folks to thank, and I had to kind of make an apology, because now at this point of the hour, I can't get to everybody, but I want to thank some folks. I'll just read through as many as I can on the list. Anonymous in New York, $50. He's listening on shortwave radio, 1561 megahertz, and Catholic Answers is coming in loud and clear.
Amen.
So that's EWTN signal, I think. Catherine from Washington, $20 a month. Carmen from Texas, $30 a month. Jerry from South Dakota, $200. Catherine from Kentucky, $100. Bernardino from Texas, $100. Ann from Anderson, South Carolina, $25. She and her son are converts, and her son is taking solemn vows in Europe this summer. Ann, thank you so much for sharing that good news with us. Every one of these pledges or gifts has been matched dollar for dollar, because we We have a $15,000 match this hour. April in Ohio, $25. Charlene in Oregon, $20. Maria in Texas, $50. Anthony, South Rockwood, Michigan, $250. Anne Marie, $30 in Melrose, New Mexico. Carla in North Dakota, $20 a month. All of that is matched dollar for dollar. Joan in Newton, Iowa sends a really encouraging message, and I believe every word of what Joan says. She gave us $25. She says she wishes it could be more. Happy for the match. Listening on Iowa Catholic Radio, who do a great job. And she says this, and I believe her. Everybody in Iowa loves the show. I believe that is true.
Praise God.
Stacy in Ashland, Virginia,
Yes.
$250. Thank you all. They called 888-291-8000. They took advantage of that dollar for dollar match. So every dollar that I just called out there was matched dollar for dollar. We got about a third of our lines open right now, I think. 888-291-8000 is the number. You can go to CatholicAnswersLive.com if you prefer to do it online. And that is a mobile-friendly resting place, so you can use your phone there as well. CatholicAnswersLive.com.
Folks, I have to believe there's somebody out there right now that can give a $1,000 gift. Get on that phone right now. We need you. Take us over the top. We've got 1, 2, 3 open lines here. 888-291-8000. Come through for us with that $1,000 gift. I want Jimmy Akin to be able to come on the air tomorrow and say we hit our match. All right, we've got 2 open lines. That means there's 14 filled. Do we have 16 lines? Is that the deal?
I can't tell from this distance.
Tell either.
We need glasses.
Yeah,
Come
I
on,
think we have more than that.
We're guessing at the number of lines. Well, we can tell when they're open. There's 2 open right now. So
we do have 2 open.
291-8000.
We can do this. Okay, we can do this. Get on that phone at 888-291-8000 or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com, and we will keep... Folks, if you get in before we go off the air, right?
Well, actually, they'll stay on for 10 minutes after we're off the air taking calls. So if you're just pulling into the driveway, go ahead and
That's
call.
right. So as long as you get in before the end of that 10 minutes after we go off the air, you're in.
Right.
Our
Exactly.
folks will stay on the line as long as it takes to get your gift processed. So, folks, jump on the phones right now at 888-291-8000 or go to, look at this, we got the lines full. Oh, I'll bet you one's going to open up right now.
He'll tell you what.
There it is. 888-291-8000 or go to CatholicAnswersLive.com, folks. We're going to make this thing.
The culture needs it. Individuals need it. Kids need it. Adults need it. We all need it. We need to know the love of Jesus presented to us in the Catholic Church, most especially in the sacraments of the Catholic Church, most especially in the Eucharist. And you, when you call, are calling people back to all of those good gifts that have been so forgotten by so many in the modern world. 888-291-8000 is the number. Lines keep opening up, and then they keep closing up, and we're so grateful for that. I'm just going to thank people till the top of the hour. Thank you, Tim Staples.
All right, brother. Thank
John, $1,000 in Columbus, Ohio. Thank you. Brian in Michigan, $250. Thank you. Mary in Louisiana, another $1,000 gift. Thank you so much, Mary in Louisiana. Derek in Georgia, $300. Thank you. Douglas and Teresa from Houston, $20 a month. Shirley in Tulsa, $10 a month. Carolyn from Massachusetts, $100. Every dollar of that stuff is matched. They called 888-291-8000. Jose from Marietta increased his monthly pledge from $20 to $30 a month. Thank you, Jose. Gloria in Manteca, California, $300, listens to EWTN on Sirius Satellite Radio. Robert in Ohio, $250. Jonathan in Bush, Louisiana, pray for a new job, please. He gave us $20. Thank you so much. During that job search, Jonathan, we will pray for you. Gary from Lamobile, Illinois, $100. Thank you, Gary. Maxine from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Gordon from Overland Park, Kansas, $50. $500. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.